18 years old. It's the age most young people are just coming into their own. But for college student Anita Knutson, 18 would be her last year alive. According to police, sometime in the early morning hours of June 4th, someone apparently entered through her bedroom window, then used a cheap pocket knife to stab her in the chest where she lay. But there were no obvious signs of a motive, and she had no apparent enemies.
I don't know that I ever met anybody that did not like her.
She was that type of person. If you were an underdog, she was befriending you. She was always there for whoever needed a friend.
The type who didn't mind giving the shy guy a chance, like her date to the senior prom, Tyler Schmaltz. It was just a one-time thing, but according to some, Tyler stayed a little too close after that, even moving into Anita's apartment complex after high school.
What do you make of Tyler?
If I were to pick out folks that I thought were her best friends, I don't know that I would necessarily say that Tyler was one of them.
And after her death, Tyler only got closer, creating a Facebook page in her honor, and this 20-minute long tribute video for her on YouTube.
Don't get me wrong, I appreciate all that he's done, but I think it's a little odd that he's so involved.
Would you call Tyler's behavior a little obsessive?
A bit obsessive, yeah.
You would think he'd go back more in the shadows somewhere since he got married and that, but he's always out there.
But is that really obsession, or are those just the actions of a grieving friend? For that matter, what was the true nature of Anita and Tyler's relationship?
Nice to meet you, Tyler.
Nice to meet you.
The only way to really know for sure would be to ask him myself.
How close were you to Anita?
She was my best friend back in high school in the beginning years of college. Went to high school together, went to our senior prom together.
Were you dating?
No, not dating. I just had a crush on her. We were just friends.
Oh, so you had a crush on her.
Yes.
Was it reciprocal?
Yes.
She had a crush on you
No,
back?
no, it wasn't. No, sorry.
So it wasn't reciprocated? No. I mean, this is a little awkward for me to ask because your wife is literally right here and waving at me. Were you in love with Anita?
No.
Just a good friend?
Yes.
Who you had a crush on?
Yep.
But what about Anita's dad's claim that Tyler was acting odd at the scene of the crime?
After Anita's murder, did the police interview, I know they were interviewing a whole bunch of people, did they interview you?
Twice, yes.
What was that like?
It was just a standard interview. They interviewed me the very second I got up there. When they first interviewed me, it was actually at the crime scene in the van. They were concerned because I knew exactly when I last talked to her, and they kept asking me about that, but that's because when I got up there, the first person I saw was her aunt, and her aunt asked me when the last time I talked to her, so I went on my computer and checked my chat logs, and they just kept hounding me on that, but then they just asked general questions.
Did you feel like you were a suspect then?
Not at the time, no.
But a month later, police brought him in again.
They were interviewing everybody in the apartment complex, including me and my brother with me. They took DNA samples from all of us.
The results of those tests were never made public, but authorities say they never made a match to any DNA found at the scene, and Tyler claims he was cleared as a suspect. So then, why does he still stay so close to the case?
Some may say it's been 8 years since Anita was murdered. Why haven't you been able to let go?
Because she was just so amazing. It just meant that much to me. Back in my first days of college, all my high school friends moved away, and she was my only friend I had then. I'm a quiet, shy guy, and I'm not that much outgoing, so at that time, she was my only friend. She was just the most amazing person in the world, and she didn't deserve any of this.
And that's something everyone we've spoken to agrees on. So then who was the one person that didn't? Shortly after news of the murder breaks, a witness tells police he saw a man running away from the area around the time Anita was supposedly murdered. Investigators release this sketch of the suspect and almost immediately get a hit.
That person came forward right away as soon as he saw that the photograph was published, or the drawing was published, and resembled him. He came forward and was cleared immediately.
Turns out he was just a jogger out on his normal route at his normal time.
Were there any other notable suspects at the time?
There was some maintenance men working on a building nearby doing roofing, the temporary workers in the area doing roofing that left. It was thought that perhaps one of those people could have been involved in that.
But police questioned those men as well, and no one was charged.
Anyone in her life that she knew?
Not that stood out to me, no. Not that raised any flags or nothing. The only thing that comes to mind is the janitor who had access, because he was the maintenance man on the apartment complex, and he was dating the supervisor of that complex.
Anita's dad said he was the man who found the screen to Anita's bedroom window, and in a tragic twist some might consider suspicious, the man reportedly killed himself roughly a year after Anita's murder. But police have said they questioned him thoroughly and don't believe he had anything to do with it.
And their answer was, well, we know him pretty well.
But investigators did have another person in their sights. Someone physically closer to Anita than almost anyone else. And she just happened to be one of the few people Anita had anything bad to say about.
She had a girl roommate, and they didn't get along. That person was not a safe person. She would have male friends over, and then Anita would tell me she would leave, and leave the male friends there, whoever they might be.
Had Anita expressed concern over her roommate to you?
Oh yes, many times. According to Anita, on her cell phone, this person would text to her, threatening letters.
So you don't know the nature of the text or the correspondence between her roommate and Anita?
That Anita was scared of her.
She was scared for her life, scared?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Coming up,
She was planning on moving out.
just how close was Anita's killer? And for the Knutson family, tragedy strikes twice.
Did Anita's killer take 2 of your children from you?
Oh, definitely.